Amid swirling trade rumors, Miami Dolphins Pro Bowl tight end Jonnu Smith has made his intentions crystal clear. He wants to remain in Miami and secure a new contract with a team he calls his dream team. This declaration, delivered via his agent Drew Rosenhaus, adds a significant layer to the ongoing discussions about his future. Jonnu Smith is coming off a phenomenal 2024 season, a campaign where he didn't just perform well. He rewrote the Dolphins' record books for a tight end. He set new franchise marks with 88 receptions, 884 receiving yards, and 8 receiving touchdowns, earning his first Pro Bowl selection. Despite the stellar performance, Smith is heading into the final year of a 2-year, $8.4 million contract with no guaranteed money remaining and a 2025 salary of $3.5 million. Naturally, he's seeking a new deal that reflects a production and value. His agent, Drew Rosenhaus, recently spoke to WSVN 7 in Miami, emphasizing Smith's desire to stay put. Here's what I'll say on behalf of my client. Jonnu would definitely like to stay in Miami, Rosenhaus stated. That's his first choice. This is where he lives in the offseason. He had a record-setting season last year. It was the greatest season in history for a Miami Dolphins tight end. He's an incredibly valuable part of this team. He went to FIU. His dream team is the Dolphins. Rosenhaus concluded by expressing hope that it all works out and he can stay in Miami. This public statement from Rosenhaus is a strategic move. It positions Jonnu Smith as a loyal player who wants to remain with a preferred team, putting the onus on the Dolphins. If a trade happens or a new contract isn't offered, the narrative suggests it won't be because Smith wanted out, but rather a decision made by the franchise. This is particularly relevant given the relatively weak free agent market for veteran tight ends, which would make replacing Smith production a challenging task for Miami. The current Dolphins tight end group without Smith would rely on players like Pharaoh Brown, Julian Hill, and rookie Jalen Conyers. The core of the situation is a player who significantly outperformed his contract and now seeks recognition and security, all while professing his desire to stay with his dream team. The Dolphins front office now has to weigh Smith's on-field value, his contract demands, and the optics of potentially parting ways with a popular and highly productive local player. What do you think the Miami Dolphins should do? Should they prioritize signing Jonnu Smith to a new long-term deal, or explore trade options given their other financial commitments? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Jonnu Smith's camp has laid its cards on the table. His desire to remain a Dolphin is clear, backed by a record-breaking season. Now, the ball is in Miami's court to decide how this chapter of their off-season saga will unfold. The NFL landscape was jolted this week by the news that Cleveland Browns superstar defensive end Myles Garrett has officially requested a trade. Garrett, a dominant force with 102.5 career sacks, immediately becomes the most talked-about trade target in the league, and naturally, speculation turns to which teams might make a move. Given the Miami Dolphins' history under GM Chris Grier of aggressively pursuing star talent, think Tyreek Hill and Jalen Ramsey, their name inevitably enters the conversation. The idea of Myles Garrett lining up in aqua and orange is undoubtedly tantalizing for Dolphins fans. He's a game wrecker, a perennial Defensive Player of the Year candidate, and would instantly elevate any defensive line. ESPN's Louis Riddick commented that Garrett's request wasn't surprising to those who understand his approach to the game and his desire to compete at the highest level. Others, like Robert Griffin III, immediately suggested teams like the Buffalo Bills should be all in, while Damian Woody speculated that Garrett might see no clear path forward for Browns with their current situation. However, despite the Dolphins' appetite for star power, a trade for Myles Garrett appears to be a long shot for several key reasons. First, the Cleveland Browns have publicly stated they have no intention of trading Garrett. While trade requests can sometimes force a team's hand, the Browns seem determined to keep their defensive cornerstone. Second, there's a question of scheme fit. Garrett has excelled as a 4-3 defensive end. The Dolphins, under their current defensive philosophy, have found success operating a 3-4 scheme that utilizes 2 primary pass-rushing outside linebackers. While versatile players can adapt, it's a consideration. Third, Miami is already heavily invested and quite talented at the edge rusher position. Jaylon Phillips and Bradley Chubb, when healthy, for a formidable pass-rushing duo. Committing massive resources to another top-tier edge rusher might not be the most efficient allocation of assets. Fourth, and perhaps most significantly, are the financial implications. Garrett carries a hefty $25 million annual salary. The Dolphins are already projected to be approximately $19.5 million over the salary cap for 2025, with only a few teams in a tighter cap situation. Absorbing Garrett's contract would require significant financial maneuvering. Finally, the Dolphins have several other positions with more pressing needs. Areas like offensive guard, safety, defensive tackle, linebacker, cornerback, and even potentially tight end and quarterback depth could be seen as higher priorities for resource allocation given their current roster construction. So, while the thought of Myles Garrett joining the Miami Dolphins is exciting, and you can never entirely rule out Chris Grier making a bold move, the practicalities make this particular blockbuster seem unlikely. The combination of the Browns' stance, scheme considerations, existing talent, severe cap constraints, and other roster needs presents a formidable set of obstacles. What are your thoughts? Should the Dolphins find a way to pursue Myles Garrett despite these challenges? Or are their resources better spent elsewhere? Let us know your opinions in the comments below. The Myles Garrett trade request will continue to dominate headlines, but for the Miami Dolphins, this dream acquisition might just remain that, a dream